welcome to our introduction to Fusion. Our agenda for the day is simply to give you an understanding of what Fusion is conceptually. Then my colleague Jess is going to give you an introductory demo to show you how Fusion it operates. And then we're going to finish with a bit of a call to action on sending you something which is around your Fusion use case. And hopefully you're going to like what you're going to see today. So without further ado, we will get going. So what is Fusion? Fusion is the presentation layer for Qlik Cloud Analytics, and it allows you to deliver Qlik content through secure internal and external portals. So think of Qlik remaining as your secure analytics engine, and Fusion being some glamorous bodywork that helps to control how the information is presented, how it's organized, how it's consumed, and also how you manage and create new content for Qlik. It is very useful in a number of use cases, and they can be divided into internal and external. So internally, you're looking to drive adoption. So specific KPIs and dashboards for teams or for departments or for executive boards that need to see high-level numbers and maybe are less inclined to engage at a detailed level. And also external Fusion use cases. So think of things like partner portals, collaboration hubs, something to allow your customers to see a thin slice of your data that pertains to them. And why is all that very, very cool? Why Fusion? So the first thing is it allows you to drive wider analytics adoption. So you've got more and more people in your organization using Qlik every day, which means that more people are making data-driven decisions and you're getting a more performant organization. And it doesn't have the learning curve that you would normally see when you roll out a Qlik dashboard, for example. The second thing is, and this pertains particularly to those external use cases, you can externalize the data, and often that means you can monetize it. So you're creating new value, even if you're not creating revenue, by sharing those thin slices of analytical data with key trading partners to drive collaboration and have a better working relationship. You also transform the user experience. Here is a sneak preview. This is a Fusion screen you can see on the right, which we built for Barclays Bank. It just means that Qlik is very engaging, very intuitive, and very easy to use. And it's also fast to deploy Fusion. So if you have the assets inside Qlik that you are ready to share, then by next Monday, we would be able to give you a Fusion portal that you could then drive internal adoption or external collaboration with. So before we go any further, we absolutely love Qlik. We, like you, appreciate what a fabulous tool that is. It's a class-leading analytics platform, but we do something just to make it that little bit enhanced. And we're going to give you an example. I'm going to use Apple. That's a company we all know. We can all imagine there's a huge wave of operational data that floods into that organization. But if I was to take Qlik and put it in front of Apple employees without any training, how many of them would get immediate value out of the box? Well, this is Tim Cook's instance of Qlik. And yes, he is a bright guy. So he is going to go on a learning journey and he is going to start to derive value over time. But he's faced with language like assets and insight advisor and catalog. So it's not immediately obvious where he should go. Think of a nurse in a hospital, very similar use case. They haven't really got the time to learn something like this from scratch because they are busy looking after patients. So what would happen if we took that exact same data and we presented that inside a Fusion portal? How many people would get value straight out of the box? So this screen is exactly those same Qlik apps, but presented in a Fusion portal. You can see that you've got intuitive, easy to navigate navigation. And more than that, you've got the language of this business. So everybody that logs in to see an executive summary understands all those terms. And immediately they're going to get value. The time to value for Fusion is accelerated. They're going to immediately start to browse around and get information that's valuable to their role. And of course, exactly the same for Apple as it is for your business. And we're going to take a look at a couple more examples. But before I do that, I just want to make sure that everybody understands the high-level architecture of how Fusion and Qlik hang together. So At the highest level, you've got a Fusion portal, a SaaS portal that's connecting to a Qlik Cloud Analytics tenant. Beneath that, we've got Fusion pages, which relate to navigational components in our navigation bar. And that they are associated with Qlik apps, individual single apps. And below that, we will have blocks of content, so the elements on a Fusion page, and they connect to Qlik content and surface that in an enhanced way. So that's the kind of architecture. Here are some more examples. So this is a company that make buses. Alexander Dennis, big user of Qlik. And this is a Fusion dashboard that we have put together for them. It's all about delivering an integrated fleet management dashboard. So anybody who likes Enviro 400 buses can find out what their part spend was using the Fusion AI assistant for the last quarter. And you can see similarly with this healthcare provider in Kent, they have a Fusion dashboard which is public facing to allow their patients and potential patients an understanding of A&E wait times, bed occupancy. They also have some internal areas to look at clinical KPIs, and they like to have workforce KPIs as well, which the HR team utilize. Another example here, HelloFresh, another big customer of Qlik. We all know what they do, which is deliver nice boxes of groceries. Here they've got a dashboard, which is kind of an executive overview. What are my active subscribers? What do my orders look like? What's my revenue per box? And let's look at my fulfillment rates across our distribution centers. So a really simple, intuitive way to access their analytics that anybody could just pick up and use without any training. NIHR is somebody that we're talking to at the moment, the National Institute for Health Research. Again, they've got a lot of people that want to understand where their research projects are. So this is a window into that particular world. And I think finally, I've got an example for Mercedes, which shows you our dark theme that Jess is going to work with as well in our demo. But you can see this is a manufacturing kind of control tower that allows Mercedes engineers to look at the plants around Europe and assess production lines for usage and throughput. So I'm now going to stop talking and pass over to my colleague Jessica. She is going to take us through Fusion and illustrate how we can build Qlik objects and Fusion objects to deliver fantastic dashboards. Jess.
Thank you, David. Perfect. So I think the first thing to call out is obviously our beautiful login, our login page. So as you can see, for the purpose of this demo, we're using a company called Apex Telecoms, which is obviously a makeshift organization. But you can see that the portal, the login experience, who is the same for everyone who is using this, is beautiful, simple, and it's white labeled. So this is completely configurable and controllable by you as an organization, as a user. We then log in, and please bear with my network again today, but you log in and we hit directly a beautiful login page, which is completely customizable by the user. So that allows you to surface on this homepage your favorite pages, your most recent pages, and your most visited pages, so that you can see straight away when you log in the things that are most meaningful to you. So you can see I've got here my most recent pages, and I've surfaced the main KPIs, objects, and charts that as soon as I log in, I'm able to see and get very quick time to value. Selecting one of those dash tiles will allow me to delve straight into the detail in terms of what is driving the change that I can see in those dash tiles. Now, as David alluded to, we've got the beautiful navigation structure on the left-hand side, which is simplistic, it's intuitive, it just makes sense. It's a two-tiered menu structure, and again, completely customizable by you guys as end users. So you're able to use language that is relevant to you and your audience, and it just really streamlines that process of dashboard builds. So we'll have a look at our sales pipeline charts dashboard for an example, and all of us here are Qlikies, so we can see straight away that this page is made up of a number of things. We can see our Qlik standard charts, as the map on the right-hand side. And you can also see some of the new capabilities that have been as form part and parcel of the version 3 release of Fusion, which is our enhanced KPIs, our progress charts, our new tables, and our bar charts, all of which still operate with selections in Qlik as you would absolutely anticipate them to, but aesthetically are so much more pleasing. And in terms of time to value and context, I think just really speed up that process. Some of the other things in terms of features to call out on this page is our wonderful conversational AI. So Ask Percy, homage to the developer who built it, but gives you the ability to ask and query your data in natural language and receive answers in sort of 10 to 15 seconds. So really performant, really quick. And also alerts and notifications. So again, allowing data to be more proactive. So for any of our KPIs, for example, we can set thresholds to say, okay, well, if my open opportunities drop below 1,500, I as a user want to be notified straight away, or I want my group of sales directors to be notified straight away. That ability, that feature is now live in Fusion. Now, what I would like to do is to just show how quick and how easy it is to build a dashboard that looks as aesthetically pleasing as this in Fusion. So we're going to build out a page, and we'll go to the page that we've just all seen, which is the sales management. So I would add a block as normal. And you can see here I've got 3 options. I can add a new Qlik block. So what that does is it pulls in any existing Qlik blocks that I have already in my Qlik environment, and I can just drag and drop them directly into Fusion, or I can create a new Fusion chart block. So we'll show how easy it is to build a new Qlik chart. So we select the sheet in which we want to pull it from. So for this purpose, let's go for salesperson. And you can see that there's 2 charts here we've already built in Qlik. We quite simply just click it, provide it a title, create the Qlik block, and it appears at the bottom of the page, ready to use our intuitive drag and drop, whether that be to resize, whether that to be reposition. It works so quickly. Now, I don't want to add a new Qlik block. What I really want to do is I want to build a beautiful new KPI using one of the new native Fusion charts. So in the same way we added a new Qlik block, we'll add a new chart block. I want to build a KPI for purpose of this demo, and we're going to call it revenue. We select the space in which we want to pull all of our master measures, dimensions, and fields from, and we'll select the page again. So we'll go sales opportunity management. Now I've started to build out the aesthetic appeal and behind my Fusion chart. We then move across to data. Now it's here where, for me, it really gets clever. So what I'm able to do in this instance is via search or via drop down, I'm able to pull in all of the master measures that are already exist in my Qlik tenant. So there's no need for any rework. Or if I am very clicky, I also have the capability to build an expression. And again, leveraging the Qlik as the engine, it's able to use all of the data that exists in there to build this chart using that data. For purpose of our demo, we're going to use the revenue, which is a master measure that's been built before. Obviously, we want that to appear as a monetary value, and I don't want my decimal points. Now, that's still quite unappealing, let's say, with the large numbers in there. We have the ability in Fusion to quite easily compact that to make it more legible, and it just gives you a quicker time to value. I then have the capability to add comparison measures. That might be a year-on-year variance, for example, or a progress measure, as you've seen on some of the KPIs in the background, which could be, here is my current revenue against budget or against target, for example. For purpose of this demo, we're going to leave it as is. And then across to the appearance. So this is where I'm able to RAG status my KPIs, again, for that visual, quick time to value. If I have a progress chart and I fall below the threshold, my KPI will automatically turn red, for example. So when I log in, I know there's an issue. I can hard code it to whatever color I please. Or again, for purpose of this demo, we can just have the KPI that is derived by the theme. So I create my chart, and the same as the Qlik chart, it appears at the bottom, ready to be dragged, dropped, resized, and ready for me to build my dashboard as I please. So we'll save those changes. And then whilst I'm on the conversation of theme, one of my favorite features in Fusion is our theme engine. So theming and designing Qlik is quite a time-consuming activity. Fusion negates that. So what Fusion does, and the Fusion theme engine in particular, is allows you to style your portal globally, your navigation, your Fusion charts, your Qlik charts in a matter of 60 seconds. So let's just say, for purpose of this demo, I don't want dark mode. I want to change to light mode. And I want my cards to look elevated. So again, we all know that adding shadows to each individual KPI object chart is time consuming. It does it on the fly in Qlik. So as you can see in the background, all of my charts are now updated. I want my corners to be rounded because aesthetically, it's just something I prefer. And then I'll save my changes. So you'll see that my Fusion charts update in real time on the fly. And then as I've clicked save, what will appear, because my network isn't the greatest, is a fully transformed dashboard. And that will be all of my charts, all of my KPIs, whether they be Fusion, whether they be Qlik. They now all have a cornered radius. They now all have a light background, and they all have the elevation behind every single individual chart and object. And that was done in a matter of 60 seconds. So that's my whistle-stop tour of Fusion. And back to you, David.
That takes us to just a wrap-up of this webinar. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Our kind of little mini call to action for us is, if you would like one of those screens or those pictures that I shared to show you what Fusion would look like for your business with your branding, and if you want to suggest a use case for us as well, then we can even build that for you, and we can send you those screens this afternoon for you to share around with the team. And other than that, I just want to summarize by saying that Fusion, in essence, is a platform that easily integrates with Qlik and is added to Qlik. It makes it look more beautiful. In turn, it drives adoption and enables that external sharing of Qlik dashboards. So anybody who is on this call, any Qlik customer, can have a demonstration, proof of concept, proof of value, run it for a little while of Fusion at zero cost. We'll put that together for you. We can even build it if you have a QVF file and give you something that you can explore and share. And in order to do that, you just need to ask us after this session by email, and we can put something together. Other than that, I hope, despite the loss of the football, that you have had a good week and enjoyed this webinar. Thank you very much for your time. Bye-bye.